Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is Ash Quest, and this is the Talisman 5th edition episode, as we are here at Modena Play in Italy. Well, we're here at Avalon Hill Games on Instagram, but hey, this is the official account to follow if you want the latest and greatest as far as Hero Quest and Talisman and Betrayal, news, updates, teases, and so on. It used to be Twitter, they had other social media things going on, but right here, Instagram has proven to be their home. And we're going to be checking out the revealing, the unboxing, the unveiling, and the playing that they did of Talisman, now 5th edition, a game that is 41 years old. I'm sorry. That came out first in 1983. Again, sorry. Created by Robert Harris and produced by Games Workshop until its 3rd edition, and in 2008, they gave a license to Fantasy Flight Games to produce content for Talisman, and they came out with 4th edition. We got Pegasus Spiel, who took the license in 2019 onward. With Avalon Hill at the helm, though, I feel like this is going to turn into something really special. And after seeing some pictures of, just the box art, I was pretty certain that this was going to blow away 4th edition for me. But we're going to check out the rest of the pictures revealed, look at the miniatures, some of the cards, and I'm just otherwise going to be the Avalon Chill that you know me to be. A huge fan of pretty much everything Avalon Hill here in the last 4 years. Huge supporter of everything that they're doing. I think that they're knocking it out of the park time and time again. I feel really great about Talisman being in the control of Avalon Hill. So first screenshot here, Doug Hopkins and some Avalon Hill folks at Modena Play in Italy, interacting with the crowd, having a great time. Surely they're excited to be there. I'm sure it's a crowd of all ages too. First screenshot of stuff inside the box. Now there are better pictures of this box out there, but I have said before, this box is beautiful. This is a box that I'd be very proud to have standing up so that everybody can see the details on the cover of the box. It is a lovely design for a box. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I just love the presentation. I love the image. So right here we have the Talisman board. I've only got a vague indication of how big exactly this is. The Talisman boards seem to vary a bit in size throughout the editions, but they all have the exact same layout. This is a game with a pretty exacting set of tiles. After all, where we have the outermost section of the board where a lot of the preliminary adventuring will be going on, a lot of the rage quitting, a lot of the betrayals, a lot of character building. The object is to get a talisman so that you can progress to the center of the board, where you will hopefully obtain the Crown of Command after completing a challenge of some kind and avoiding all of the other players who are trying to stab you in the back along the way. Yes, this is quite a competitive game. There's a lot to take in here. We've got the board, we've got the minis, we've got plastic for the gold coins, it looks like, which is awesome. Something about plastic being used for the gold coins really takes me back. I definitely prefer that over cardboard chits. We've got all of the cards, a pretty good indication of what all of the decks are here. If you've had any edition of Talisman, all of this will look immediately familiar to you, especially the cones, which have just remained unchanged for decades. The green, the red, and the blue markers that we use to indicate our strength, our craft, and our life. Love that for us. We've also got our character boards, and we should get a better picture of those. Here for the sorceress, we've got lovely art on our character board, and the text at the edges to help you lay out your little proprietary section for your player. This tells you where your strength goes, your craft, your life, all of the starting values, your fate, and your gold. I know you're looking at this thinking, man, you gotta be broke, that's just 1 gold, but let me tell you, 1 gold goes a long way in Talisman. Your objects and followers can go below your card. It also tells you where to start. In this case, the sorceress will start at the graveyard. Now you get a better image of the minis here, but we're going to go on to the next page. I just want to look at this board a little bit more. Warlock's Cave, City, Doctor, Enchantress, Alchemist, all of this stuff here in the original game. This is definitely where the City expansion would go, and I really do hope that we got a lot of expansions for this coming, because this is really nice. The aesthetic here is great. The miniatures look great. I know that there's a common interpretation that there's a stipulation, and it may very well be worded verbatim that if you license a game from Games Workshop, you're not allowed to create miniatures that would compete with their own. I never thought that Avalon Hill would back down from producing high quality gaming miniatures that don't just look like board game pieces, but instead it looks like they will very much Hero Quest. And if you get Hero Quest miniatures and you get the miniatures that come with the newest version of Heroescape, they should all be compatible across the 3 games. We are re-entering an era where you'll be able to take miniatures and just move them from game to game, just like the Citadel miniatures back in the old days. You know, I say that, but what I really mean by that, because you could do that now with whatever Games Workshop has going on with Warhammer, but I'm talking about outside of Warhammer. I mean, back then it was Talisman, Hero Quest, Dungeon Quest, Warhammer, whatever you've got going on. I don't care if it's Warhammer Quest, Warhammer Fantasy Battles, Warhammer Roleplay. All of the aesthetic was the same because all the sculptors were the same. It was all Citadel, but this, we're going back into this territory with Avalon Hill having produced so many fantastic sculpts in this style. Enough shilling about that. Let's move on and see what we can see in the next picture. We've got 12 beautiful miniatures ready for use in whatever game we want, but designed for Talisman. The original, I can't really speak about the original Talisman. The first and second editions, I don't have them. I've got the third edition. I know that my third edition Talisman, which is very much rooted in a Games Workshop setting because it's got Skaven, it's got Chaos Dwarfs, has a Minotaur. And this Minotaur was replaced in the fourth edition by a giant sort of like, this is either a troll or an ogre. Unfortunately, I've never really busted out the fourth edition to play. I just unboxed it. But I will tell you that every single one of these sculpts looks better than its fourth edition counterpart. All of the aesthetic here is superior in my opinion. The details are better. These look like they're larger minis. The ones that come with fourth edition Talisman are definitely smaller. They're not 32 mm. They're not 28 heroic. They might be 28 millimeter, but they're not heroic scale. So the details are just lost on so many of them. That isn't to say that they're not good and sometimes even great miniatures, but these have them beat by an order of magnitude. As you can see what all of these are, you can tell exactly what each of the classes are, or each of the hero characters, I suppose I should say, because classes aren't really a term for this game. But I see the assassin, I see the ogre, I see the ranger, which could be an elf ranger. I think this would be our paladin. We've got a sorceress somewhere in here, a dwarf, a wizard. Is that a ghoul? Is that what we're looking at here? If you come across some sort of deal where you can buy one, get one, or you might even find it worth it to go ahead and grab a second copy of Talisman, you can take all of these miniatures, paint them heroic red, and you'll 100% have viable Hero Quest miniatures. I look at these and I personally guarantee to myself that these are the exact same scale for Hero Quest use. I'm not even questioning it. I will eat crow if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident in this. And you can take Hero Quest miniatures and bring them over to your Talisman game as well. You could go ahead and do that and base the stats on the 3rd edition expansion minis or perhaps the 4th edition expansion characters. Talisman has a lot of characters. It's always had a boatload of different characters, each character having their own stats, their own pros and cons, starting spaces, alignment in Talisman. We have good, we have chaotic, we have neutral, so characters can follow any of these alignments, and this will affect how they are treated when they land on particular spaces on the board or when they are subject to certain events that are drawn. Evil characters can have evil followers, for example. So moving on, we get to see some of the card art. One of the comments, so moving on, we get to see some of the hero board art, the character cards here. One of the comments in this post, I don't like character card illustration, seems to be AI generated. I don't know. I think if I'm looking at these that there is somewhat of a cohesive style between the characters. Some of them are not, but I mean, it really wouldn't be uncommon for several different artists to take to task here and each draw their own interpretations. I mean, if you were a collector of any Flair or Fleer cards in the early to mid 90s and you were collecting the Marvel Comics cards, those all had different artists, and yet they were all kind of cohesive to our eye. We had a lot of artists like Boris Vallejo and the Hildebrandt brothers drawing these heroes that we love, these interpretations, and I mean, they didn't not go together. And I think that this might be the case here. I don't really see a lot of like AI art tells just from this picture. I'm not going out and pledging that they haven't used it. I really hope that they haven't. This point of contention really doesn't matter to some people. And I mean, it doesn't really matter to me either. I'm still going to get the game, even if this is confirmed to be AI art, but I will complain, definitely. And I will have to verbally smack wrists with a ruler if they did employ the use of AI art here, when they have the backing to pay real talent to create images for them. People who would love to make images for Talisman, a game that is beloved by a lot of people. So just my useless commentary on AI right now. This here doesn't seem to be, but you know, it's getting closer all the time. So it's not to say that it's not. But you can see a lot of the classes here. Assassin, called that one. Ghoul, called that one. Sorceress, Monk, Priest. This is probably Ranger. This is probably Wizard. Thief, Warrior. You can see their alignments in the upper left of the card. That's what these symbols are. We've got evil alignments. Oh, is this a Warlock then? Neutral alignments and good alignments. I don't know what the terminology might be for this edition. It might be like holy. It might be good. I would think it might be lawful, order, something like that. And the evil might be evil rather than chaos or chaotic. But whatever the terminology is, really exciting to see this cast of characters. Love seeing the sculpts, probably most excited for the sculpts, but really just excited to unbox this and check out the overall feel. How does the game feel? For those of you who have been longtime fans of Talisman, can you tell me what the differences between third and fourth might have been? What kind of feedback people might have given, rather, that would have caused Avalon Hill to make mechanical changes to this? Do you think that there will be subtle changes to some of the rules based on a decade of feedback from players who may not have preferred 4th edition or 4th revised? Or do you think that all of the changes that were made for 4th revised will hold here and everything will pretty much play out exactly the same? I need to play a lot more Talisman. I just don't have enough people to play it with. If it was a solo kind of game that I can really get behind it, I don't know if it's good to admit that on camera. I could play a solo game anytime I want. I don't have to wait on anybody. But if I want to play a 2 to 4 player game, I have to wait for other players. I have to wait for people's schedules to sync up with mine, and then we have to all actually spend time and play the game. Maybe I can play the video game on Steam. Can somebody tell me if that would be a good thing? Would I be able to experience Talisman as it was meant to be experienced if I played the video game? Like, none of that matters. I'm going to get this anyway because A, I want to support Avalon Hill, and I definitely want to unbox this stuff on the channel. I definitely want to will it, hero quest it, and vice versa. But B, if I'm going to play a version of a game, I would like it to be a great version of that game. One of the very best versions. And while nothing will top 3rd edition for its Citadel and Warhammer-esque qualities, this could definitely clear off some space off of my game shelves when it gets released. I mean, I might just go ahead and get rid of my Talisman 4th edition box core game and replace it with the Avalon Hill version and just keep the 4th edition expansions and slowly phase them out as Avalon Hill may come out with new expansions until I'm left with a sort of weird merging of 4th revised and 5th, or perhaps they'll be able to come out with everything that Fantasy Flight and Pegasus Spiel did. Perhaps the exact same way, but better, if that makes sense. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I've prattled on long enough about my excitement for this game, and really looking forward to seeing what people have to say about it. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Until then, bye for now.